I had an insight yesterday. I was meditating and it became clear that every form of suffering is arising out of insecurity. I would say that insecurity is the root of all suffering. I'm talking about psychological suffering. We have invented certain belief systems because of that. We have invented, religious systems that should help us to no longer feel this insecurity. Or we believe that when we have a lot of money and we own a lot, that we suddenly become, stand above other people, and therefore we can earn security. Like, security is something that most people are dealing with. Most people feel deeply insecure. I know people who have everything under control, big family, wife, children, multiple cars, a lot of money, but deep down they feel insecure. For example, when the wife wants to go to a vacation without the husband, and the husband seems to be so secure, but inwardly he's fighting with this feeling of, no, I'm insecure, my wife is going on a vacation without me. It's still insecurity there. So everybody's dealing with insecurity, if he knows it or not. Like, most people are what they do what they do because they hope that by doing what they do, they get rid of the sense of insecurity. And therefore, all of their actions have the quality of insecurity. There's, even in the relationships, there's, if you don't feel 100% secure in your relationship, then you are sabotaging. Do we call it sabotaging or sabotaging your relationship? What you do in your relationship has the quality of insecurity, and therefore you, in a subtle way, you manipulate without even knowing it. When you are insecure, you're basically living in hell. And you can observe this. You don't have to accept this, but just take this thought and just meditate on it and observe it in yourself and in other people. You can see that most people, even though they wouldn't ever acknowledge it or say it out loud that this is a fact, but most people do feel insecure, and whatever they do it because they hope that this insecurity will hopefully go away by believing in a religious God, by having a girlfriend or a boyfriend, by trying to keep your family together, by trying to control people, by trying to control your life, by trying to be tough, by trying to discipline yourself. There's a lot of things that we are constantly doing, mostly unconsciously, but we are just doing it because we're trying to be more secure. Now, here's the thing, when people are looking for enlightenment, what they're really looking for is to have a constant, stable sense of being secure. To me, that's what enlightenment is, or at least it's a quality of what enlightenment is. One quality of enlightenment is that you see that there is no separation between you and the world. But another quality of it is that you feel secure. You're no longer scared of life, because you know that life is going to change. You know that you're one day going to die, but you can acknowledge those facts, and even if you are aware of those facts, you still are secure within. Now, but here's the thing, that life gave us a brain that needs absolute security. This brain needs to be absolutely certain that there is no danger, so that it can properly function in the way that it should function. So the brain needs to feel secure, absolutely, without any doubt. Life gave us this kind of brain, but life also gave us a universe that is constantly changing. It's not really secure. It's never secure. Security is an illusion. Now, how can we, that life gave us a brain that needs absolute security, but life also gave us a universe that has absolutely no security. But have you noticed that animals don't ever feel insecure? Like when a wolf is attacking a rabbit, and the rabbit is instinctively running away, it's experiencing fear, as it should, because it's helping the rabbit to run away, to react and make sure that it's going to survive. But once the rabbit is noticing that the wolf isn't here anymore, then it's just relaxing again. Maybe it's breathing deeply or fast, but at some point it's no longer going to assume or that there is a danger in the woods. It's just going to be here and now, present, and it doesn't feel insecure. It is simply trusting that if another wolf would come, the system would react again and run away. But it doesn't have to think about maybe there's a wolf here, maybe there's a wolf there. Animals aren't insecure. At least I haven't ever experienced an insecure animal. Some animals seem to be insecure, but those are pets. Pets that belong to people who are insecure. So the pets become humanized. They learn from the owner. If the owner of a pet is insecure and depressed, then the animal oftentimes also becomes insecure, anxious and depressed. But animals in nature haven't ever observed an animal that is insecure. So we humans have the ability to be insecure. Is it even possible to get over this insecurity, this kind of insecurity? We have an ability that animals don't have. We have the ability to have images in the mind of how the future could be, and also we can have images in our minds of what happened in the past. So a little child who hasn't ever had any negative experience, it's just like 2 or 3 years old, good parents, hasn't ever had like trauma, then it becomes 4 years old, 5 years old, and everything seems to be very peaceful. It doesn't yet know that there is danger in the universe, and therefore it feels absolute security. Until the child wants to have a chocolate bar, parents say no, and then it feels that, wait a minute, I want, but I don't get. There's instantly a sense of insecurity. I want to have it, parents say no. Something that's bigger than me has power over my will, and now I feel insecurity. I feel that, and now there are 2 ways that you can deal with it. You either are sad and you surrender to the fact that there are powers who are stronger than you, who are ruling over you. That's even the case when you are an adult. There are just simply powers that have more power than you, and they are ruling over you. So you simply surrender to it, and you are sad about it, and you're insecure about it. Or the second thing that you can do is you become angry and you try to control the situation. And by doing so, you produce a lot of stress, and you're still insecure. So both ways are unhealthy. So that could be the first negative experience of a human being, the experience of wanting to have a chocolate bar and not getting any. And now the child is starting to realize that there are things going on in life that do not go according to my plan or to its plan. That's like the first, we could call it trauma, maybe that's a harsh word, but it's your first experience that tells you that life isn't really all secure. It's not really safe, or something else could happen, but gradually over time you're going to experience more and more situations in which you don't feel secure. And then you have a whole past. And the animal, I don't think that the animal was able to recall the past in the way that humans are able to do it. So humans can think about everything that happened in the past. So, and when you are traumatized by something that happened in the past and you're constantly thinking about it, and you have formed an identity out of the situation that happened, then you're always in a state of fear because it could happen again. And that's basically the insecurity. You're trying to be secure, but the past tells you, or the past told you, that the universe is capable of harming you, and therefore you are afraid of the future because it could happen anytime again in the future. So that's the difference between a human being and an animal. So how is it possible, or is it possible to actually feel security? And in my experience, yes, it is possible. I know how it feels to be depressed or anxious or insecure, and but I have found a way to to realize that security isn't needed, because when you are consciously choosing to be aware of this present moment, then you'll see that there is no reason to be insecure, because in this moment it is whole. And this is basically what meditation is. It is realizing that right here, right now, as you are totally aware of this present moment, you cannot find a threat, you cannot find any danger. So resting in this realization that right here, right now, there is no danger, your whole system can readjust itself. Nervous system can regulate itself because it realizes that actually I'm safe here. And you will see that most of the time you are safe. And even if something happens that is dangerous, you will be able to remain a cool head. You're still aware of how your body feels inside. You're aware of what happens outside. But you're no longer trapped in stories, horrific stories about reality, but instead you are simply experiencing reality. And your idea about reality, compare it. You can try to compare it. Your idea about reality is much scarier than your current experience of reality. At least for most people, that's the case. My idea of what reality is was very negative. But this current experience of reality isn't negative or positive, but it's peaceful. It is free of any inherent meaning. So it's empty. It's just what it is. But there is no reason for me to say that it's incredibly good or incredibly bad. And that's the beginning of security. To just be here. Most people are constantly in this mind prison. And the mind tells them, that there's always a reason to be afraid. For example, you have experienced a lot of negativity. negative situations, and then 10 years have passed, and then you're just at home alone and it's warm, it's cozy, it's raining outside, but inside you're safe from the rain. Actually, you are safe. You're safe from whatever happened in the past. You're safe from the rain. You're safe from the cold outside. You are in between four walls. You have a cozy bed, and the mind tells you that there are many, many reasons to be afraid. But once you become aware, you can tell yourself that actually there is no reason to be afraid. I am actually safe now. That's what you can tell yourself. And you don't have to convince yourself with your mind on why you are safe. But you can simply realize it. Right now, you are so safe that you will have time to watch a YouTube video. There is no threat, actually. Now, that realization can happen, can change a lot. So, but also in this acknowledgement of how secure and safe this moment is, you can then become aware of the uncomfortable sensation in the body that has been created through the belief that life is unsafe. And by becoming aware of this physical sensation that has been created through the belief that life is unsafe, it can finally settle down again. And then you will actually experience true safety. But this can take some time. The realization that reality is safe is instant. But the integration into your body is something that takes time. So basically, the more secure you are inwardly, the richer you are inwardly. It's safety is the currency of the psyche.